Hi everyone, my name is Diane and this is My Pink Bathtub Knits. Welcome. Welcome if you're new and welcome if you're a returning subscriber. My Pink Bathtub, what kind of a name is that? Well, years ago I used to own a My Pink Bathtub and I didn't quite like pink. Still not a super fan, but I'm learning to embrace it and I just thought it would be a fun, cute name for my little knitting business when I do my markets. People often think I sell bath bombs. You can find me on all sorts of platforms out in the interwebs. On Instagram, I am My Pink Bathtub, as well as on Ravelry and Facebook. And you can send me a note at mypinkbathtub@gmail.com. Speaking of notes, I had a viewer reach out to me. Hi, Mary. And she spoke to me about my earlier episode about organizing needles and what she has done with some stray needles. And she has made shawl pins out of them. So here is a photo. She had made one from an aluminum needle and her husband helped her out. They heated it up, they put it on the vise, and they slowly turned it into this beautiful shawl pin. They're going to be working on some other needles, she said, of I think plastic ones from her mother-in-law's stash. And she has even made some wooden shawl pins. So thanks so much for sharing that with us, Mary. This episode is brought to you by Piggy Mittens. These are my little piggy mittens that are going to be going to market, literally. They come with mitten clips, and this is the toddler size. I also make them in youth size, so I made 2 pairs this week. This will also fit a small lady's hand. And I have them in adult size. This is that Color Made Easy yarn that I was raving about, having an acrylic option for those that cannot wear wool at my markets. And it knits up quite nicely. I have one finished object to share with you. We do have a Canadian yarn, and I'm going to talk to you about what I'm planning to do for next week. What's going on with my hair today? I just had to put it kind of back because I'm in desperate need of a haircut. A pattern from this book, Huge and Huggable Mochi. Did I say that right, Jude? Mochi. I was looking online and it seems to be not available on Amazon, but there are other sources that you can still purchase this book, and I did put a link below. I am doing Barry from Barry and Theo, the giant size teddy bear, and I chose to make it with some acrylic yarn, this Bernat Super Saver yarn, because toys should be played with and toys should be thrown in the washing machine. Even though I am going to be doing a bougie bear version of a toy this year, most toys are made in acrylic when I sell them. And the magic of self-striping yarn, here is my friend. He works up quite nicely, very easy to do. I haven't made one of these in years. Very huggable, very snuggable. I did find it hurt my hands a little bit. So he might be a one-off for now. For those of you that don't know, I sell toys and mittens at markets in the fall, just for a little bit of income. And also the reality was I was knitting so much. What was I going to do with all this knitting? When I first started around 10 years ago, I was just making your standard hats and cowls and mittens. And the market got really oversaturated with fiber arts. So I decided I was going to do something different and I was going to start just putting faces on everything. And it's been really successful for me. It's just a fun little part-time gig that I've grown over the years, and it's been good. So I haven't done anything with these mittens. I'm going to get them done this week. This is what they're going to look like with the self-patterned yarn. This is an acrylic wool blend yarn that is discontinued wool spun. I've been working on my wrap for the MAL. I've been on. All the information for the MAL is below in my show notes still. It is the Turnpike Creations MAL put on by Gina and Judy. Gina is from the Knitting Turnpike. Judy is from Judy's Creations in Crochet. I am doing the knit version. You can do a knit version or a crochet version of the same designer, Heather J. Anderson. This is the Fluoresce wrap, and I am finally on part 2. Already having regrets on weaving in my ends because that is what I tend to do. But it has been a nice knit. It's been very, once you get going on it, you don't have to look at the pattern at all. And I'm quite enjoying it. So this is my goal, is to get this done this week coming up. And there is still time for you to get on this. There is a very active Facebook group. Some people have already finished, keeners. And once I get this done, I was going to say I was going to start my other shawl, but I don't know if I will. The other thing I've been working on is a bit of a stash busting project. And it's with this Lion Brand's Heartland yarn. This is the color Gray Smoky Mountains. For a simple knit, I have nothing but problems with this. I don't know if it's the yarn. I don't know if it's a pattern. I don't know if it's me. I think it's a combination of all three. And it is called the McInness cardigan. The gauge was way off with the recommended needle size that I've had to redo the gauge. And that's okay, but I have gotten to the recommended length where you're supposed to separate for the sleeves, maybe a couple more inches. This is it under the arm. And then I will separate for the sleeves, and then we will be cooking with gas, or at least I hope I will be. This one has really been kicking me in the butt. I don't know if I haven't been paying attention or I've just been on a negative mode with it because I had such problems with the gauge. But we'll get there in the end. And I'm hoping it'll be a wearable garment, if nothing else, around the house. I have been accepted into the second market that I had briefly mentioned last week. So I'm doing only 2 markets this year for my knitting, and they are both in the fall. Actually, one is in October and one is in November. The second market is called Inspirations Market. I actually did it 2 years ago. And it's a 2-day market, and it's at a large venue in our city where there's horse racing at the Assiniboia Downs. It is the only winter market that is going to be happening at that venue. My hair is just ridiculous. And sometimes things seem like a good idea at the time, and they're just not. And when I did this market 2 years ago, I pretty much sold out of most, I think I had a handful of mittens left. And I was supposed to do a 2-day market the following weekend, and I had to cancel it. I had no stock. It is a juried market. It is handmade only. There was, I think, 240 applicants, and there was only like 94 booths. And luckily, I was accepted again. So 2 big markets this year, which means I need to get knitting now, and I need to have a game plan. I'm going to be doing animal mittens, and I'm going to just be doing a handful of toys. I know I've been doing lots of random toys. I want my table to look cohesive and to have a theme. So one of the toys I am going to be making on a regular basis is Bougie Bear toy, which is a pattern from Susan Claudino, the Happy Scrappy Bear. I've chosen to make it with 3 strands of yarn held together. One is a hand-dyed yarn, one is going to be just a DK acrylic blend, and then the third is going to be mohair, and that is what's going to make it bougie. This was my sample knit that I did. I'm kind of wondering if I should change the ears a bit, maybe make them a little wider. And for this one, I didn't have any safety eyes left, so I just used regular buttons. But going forward, I am going to do safety eyes. I like the body and the limbs, but I'm thinking I might change up the ears just a bit. And this was made with the Tangled Poets minis that you can get in their pickle jar. I have also bought like a bag of them with mohair. I just used the Diablo mohair from Hobie for this one. And then I held it with a DK weight yarn, which was just a baby yarn and acrylic yarn. I kind of organized all my minis. I only needed 5 of them. So I've kind of grouped them in similar colors, put a little elastic bands around them. I've also collected all of my mohair together that I'm going to be using. Put mohair for the first time on my Swift, and I was a little nervous about it, but it turned out okay. So I've got a couple small little colors, and it's not going to take a lot. This was also in my D-stash, so I think it'll look really cute with some purple. I was just using little simple baby yarn like this, which was from Mary Maxim Twinkle. It's very, very soft, 100% acrylic. So I'm just going to do some mixing and matching, and I think I'm going to pull one from each bin when I want to start making these little bears. I'm going to be making them throughout the years, and I'll be showing you them for market makes. We are still in Alberta, Canada for our Canada road trip yarn of the month. Each month I choose a different province and I purchase a couple of hanks of yarn from indie hand dyers within Canada that I have never purchased from before. We started in British Columbia. We went up to the Yukon. Now we are in Alberta, and next month we're going to go to Saskatchewan. So let's get in the car, get your snacks, get your crossword puzzle. I don't want you two to fight in the back seat. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but that was my childhood. This yarn I purchased actually in December because I was scrolling on Instagram, minding my own business, when I saw a post pop up on the Grocery Girls Instagram page. If you don't know who the Grocery Girls are, I feel bad for you. The Grocery Girls are a Canadian sister team that have a podcast out of Edmonton, Alberta. They're very well known. And one of the sisters, Judy, also hand dyes yarn under the name of Frankie Gray Fibres. I believe she does that with her daughter, Jordan. I believe they're kind of a team on that for the hand dyeing. So minding my own business, as I always do, because none of these purchases are ever my fault. I noticed that there was a post that she was clearing out some of her yarn for 40% off. 40. Start the car. I mean, as any yarn lover, I immediately went over to her page and I selected 3 things to put in my cart. And before I could even check out, one of them had sold. Rude. If you're not familiar with Oopsie yarn, an Oopsie yarn can be a one-of-a-kind yarn that a hand dyer has created that is choosing not to continue making, or, as I like to call it, a happy accident yarn, where the recipe perhaps did not turn out as the standard colorway. There's nothing wrong with the yarn, but they can't put it in with the original grouping of that colorway, so it is considered an oopsie. They were sets of DK weight hand-dyed yarn with either Surrey or mohair. You had bant mohair. So wanted 3, but I ended up getting 2, so that's still a win. And this is what I bought. I mean, it's just gorgeous. So let's look at these individually. This is a beautiful blue with some kind of a pinky splashes and a pale gray. This one is a DK weight, 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. It's 100 grams, 224 meters. And this is Surrey alpaca. 79% baby Surrey alpaca and 21% silk in a 50-gram hank for 300 meters. Like, oh. Some people have a preference to Surrey as opposed to mohair. I am still fairly new on the mohair train. So it does feel, it's hard to say. It feels a little softer, but again, I haven't actually worked with it. So these two colors together are going to be gorgeous. Or if I choose to split them up, I feel I can use these two hanks of DK together because they're very close. This one has some pink in it. This one does not. But I was really, really drawn to this color of mohair. It's like a smoky blue. This is the same specs for the yarn. Again, this is an oopsie yarn. And this one is mohair. So it's 70% kid mohair, 30% silk, 420 meters. This one was just 300 meters for the Surrey. So it's got a bit of a thicker weight to it. Both absolutely gorgeous. I'm thrilled that I have some of your yarn now, Jody. I'm very excited. I was on her website last night and I was really, really tempted to buy some stuff. So I'm sitting on my hands right now, but I do have a few ideas in my head. Please go and check her out. I'm going to link her below. I'm linking their YouTube channel. Also Grocery Girls has a website as well where they sell a lot. They have a bit of yarn in there, but they have more knitting accessories. So I've linked that below as well. Please go check out the Frankie Gray Fibres website and the Grocery Girls website to see if there's anything that catches your eye. Again, Canadian, so my friends in the US of A, if there's anything you see, you've got to remember the exchange has never been better for you to buy Canadian. Was to make the coastal drift mittens that I first saw on Nancy's podcast of Knit Sip Happy. Nancy Wheeler is in the east coast of Canada in New Brunswick. She is a small business owner and she is a sockwear designer. And she was making these mittens. They're making them with DK or 2 strands of fingering held together. And she was including mohair in them. And they were just beautiful. I didn't have any DK yarn in my stash. So lately I've been buying a lot of one-offs of DK yarn. I don't know if I'm going to make these mittens just yet, but I did buy the pattern. This is how bad of a quality of a printer I have at home. So I have the pattern here. I probably will try it relatively soon. It only takes 50 grams of fingering and 25 grams of a lace mohair or 100 grams of a DK weight yarn. That was my initial motive for buying this yarn was it's got the mohair in it, but now I've kind of fallen in love with the mohair for my animals and my little teddy bears, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So no new cast-ons for this week because I really want to get my efflorescence wrap done and get my photo off to Judy and Gina. There's still time to do that. Some people have finished and have already started a second wrap for this MAL. You have until March the 6th to get in the photos to them. You just email both of them. I've linked the live below again for you to take a look if you're interested in joining this MAL. It is knit and crochet, so it's an inclusive craft MAL. Both people can join, and some people are making one of each. I am also going to work, I got to get this done, that dang McInness cardigan. I've never been so stubborn on anything before. I am going to separate the sleeves soon. I'm not looking forward to picking up the stitches to do the collar, but it will be good practice. And I am bound and determined to get that on my body and show you next week. So that's my goal. And if I have time, I'm going to finish those half-made mittens. The reason why I want to get these all done before the end of February is March is mitten making month. I am going to be making as many mittens as I can for my markets, and I want to show you all the cute little animals I make and possibly design a new animal as well. I'm going to give myself a challenge. I don't want to put a number on it, but we are going to have a mitten counting machine to see how many mittens I can make. I think I'm at either 22 or 24 pairs of mittens. I had a few pairs left over from last season, but we will have an official count the 1st of March to go with what we're going to be making. And I think there's 5 Fridays in March. So we'll be having a lot of updates throughout the month of March on where I'm at with that. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Friday has called, and I hope you answer the call and get some crafting done. So take care and bye for now.